State for his assistance in reviewing these papers, and to the descendants of Mr. Thorpe for their cooperation in allowing these transcripts to be brought into public view. An explanation should be made at this point that, although minor additions to the text were included to enhance its effect, no facts were altered. Any mistakes or misrepresentations resulting from these changes are solely my own. And now, City of Rocks.
Joseph Roper interview. Pocatello, Idaho. February 8, 1938. Begin transcript. Session 1. Just talking to this tube and it'll catch all my words, huh? All right. But I want to tell you up front that I'm not going to repeat the pack of lies that have been told about me in the past. I ain't no hero, and I never was called the Idaho Kid, like that Sacramento newspaper claimed last year. They came out here and took my picture and asked a bunch of questions, but what they printed afterward wasn't nothing like what I told them. So if that's what you're planning to do, you can just take your recording machine there and leave. All right. I'll trust you that you'll copy this word for word and help put a stop to the fabrications I keep hearing about that incident. You asked me to tell my story from the beginning, but I'm not really sure where that is. I want you to know what happened, but I also want you to know why it happened. That's not as easy to put into words. You know, a lot of people go to those moving picture shows down at the Rialto or the Gaslight, and they're thinking they're seeing the real McCoy as far as what it used to be like out here in the 1870s and 1880s. But that's not the way it was. The fact is, when it comes to the truth, those movie folks don't know squat. You take a guy like William S. Hart or Tom Mix, or that kid that was in The Big Trail. What's his name? John Wayne? They all try to come off rough-barked, but they're nothing but a bunch of lilies compared to men like Ian McCandles and Ben Ryder and Yakima Tom Candy. Those boys, McCandles' gang, they're what the dictionary had in mind when it described rough-barked. McCandles' men would have ate those Hollywood cowboys for breakfast and been hungry again before noon. I'll tell you something else I've noticed about those cowboy pictures. They're clean. Fancy boots and engraved colts, and barely a smudge of dirt anywhere. What happened out there in City of Rocks wasn't clean. It was grimy and smelly and gut-numbingly cold. And it was scary. Men died for stupid reasons, and when they did, they didn't just grab their chests and fall over. They got knocked down hard, and the life spilled out of them like blood from a butchered hog. I guess I ought to know since I was there, since it was me who did most of the killing that day. The beginning? For what you want to hear about, I reckon that's the day the McCandles gang rode into town. Back then, Coalville was just a little one-dog town stuck way the hell out in southern Idaho, where God didn't get to very often. I'd been working for Sheriff Hackett off and on for several years by then. Sid was the sheriff in Coalville, but he ran some cattle on the side, and it was my job every spring to run his cows up into the Black Pine Mountains northwest of us, then go fetch 'em home again in the fall. It was right after the autumn gather in early November of 1879 that the McCandles gang showed up. I'd just come in myself, pushing about 45 head of mostly Hereford stock, 38 of them with white-faced calves trotting along at their mother's sides. Herb Smith, who ran the livery, saw me coming and walked out to open the gate to his largest corral. He helped me shoo the leaders inside, and the rest of the herd followed along without hesitation. Then he swung the gate shut and latched it. I can still hear his voice in my mind, like it was yesterday.